Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv, joined by Chuck Cavaleris, new man on the group, Ryan Callahan right there, Jimmy Himes, old man on the group, Bob Hodge right there. Chuck and Bob have been with me on the show longer than anybody, no breaks. I appreciate you guys always being here. This segment brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigars. You see it right there on the screen in front of you. I was out there this week, and I was out there early Friday evening. Tons of people out there enjoying card games, enjoying the golf simulator, TV. You had one group that was watching sports over here. You had other of the big HD TVs. They're sitting in their leather chairs over here. They're watching news. Movie Goodfellas was on. It's a good place to relax, really good place to relax. And they have a terrific selection of boutique cigars and also the premium names that you know so well. Blue Smoke Cigar, located right there next to the Rafferty's on Kingston Pike and South Peters Road. You can't miss the sign, Blue Smoke Cigar. All right. I was going to start talking about players, but I'm looking at the reaction to today's show, and I thought we could address this. Gunny says, listening to you guys, one would think we are going 6-6. Fake news. So, were we being fake news? Were we intentionally being negative? Usually I get people in town beat me up for being a homer and for being negative. So I don't know, where were we today? Was this fake news, or were we being fair?
Here's the deal. I mean, it wouldn't even be fake news. It'd be fake opinions, because we're giving our opinions as much as we're giving news. But I also think, no, I am getting more pessimistic about this season. And so, fake, real, whatever, I can just tell you how I feel. I am more pessimistic today than I was in June. So that's just me. I was 8-4, maybe 9-3. Now I'm more. Yeah. 8-4, maybe 6-6. So I'm sorry. I'm getting more pessimistic.
As a show, Ryan, you weren't here for it, but earlier in the summer we did, and then once in the spring we did as well. And we kind of asked what's the over/under, and as a panel we pretty much said 7.5. And then Vegas came out. I think the Golden Nugget put theirs out. They're always the first one in Vegas because they're desperate to have somebody gamble there, and it's a way to make news for themselves. And they said 7.5. I've gone under on that. I think they lose to Georgia Tech, and I think they're 7-5. That's not 6-6, but that's also not fake news. That's what I really think. I think they're going to go 7-5. Is it possible they go 12-0? Yeah, possible to go 12 too. But my gut says 7-5. Let's get to another one. I'll let you guys respond to. Let's see here. Mrs. DTBVFL says, "You guys are depressing me. Vol Nation is fired up. I hope the Vols prove you wrong. Where's Sterling?" Hyped up. Sterling was here last week. Sterling will be here next week, and then Sterling will be here every show we do for football season. So you're going to get a lot of Sterling coming up. Is Vol Nation fired up? Ryan, where you work for a website. What are your thoughts on Vol Nation message boards, fired up, that kind of stuff?
So I don't think fans are as fired up as they have been. Certainly last year there was a lot of excitement. Nothing close to that this year. I do think it's interesting though that season ticket sales are not significantly down. I think that shows there's still a reasonable amount of excitement about where things are headed. Just I don't think many fans expect a championship of any kind this year, and that's definitely tempered expectations all across the board.
But they are down.
Yeah.
Yeah, which tells you that's the tenor of the fans a little bit too.
And we've talked about this, guys. I think Tennessee really hurts itself with so many closed practices. I think that it's hard to get an accurate gauge by the media that is covering the team. And it's like Ryan has said, there's some feel-good stories that you can pick up on. And with so many closed practices, you just have the coach saying, well, we're not nearly consistent enough, or this is nowhere good enough. And I just think it would behoove Tennessee to open some of these practices up.
Well, along those lines, so you have a scrimmage, Wednesday night, and then you find out the reaction Friday night. Really?
Yeah, I thought that was, the Sentinel had the story. I guess they picked up your guys' story. I saw it. Usually it's whatever they put on Go Vols Extra Saturday night is kind of their Sunday morning thing. And it's a breakdown of Wednesday's scrimmage. Okay, I don't know that UT's doing themselves any favors.
I don't think they are.
It kind of goes back to, if you remember 2005 when Tennessee was picked to go number 3 in the nation, and Philip Fulmer was saying, "Oh, it looks good."
Goodness.
And then they tank, and you hear, "Well, we saw signs of this in practice." Well, you would have let people know what was coming if you'd opened practice. And then the last one I got, this guy really did not like what we were saying. I don't know if he was watching our show or something else, though. Rick DeBoard says, "You guys are as bad, if not worse, as the bandwagon Vol fan when it comes to Butch Jones. He is our coach. Stop putting him down." and you're going to say we're just having a discussion. You are one reason the fans feel like they do. You're just fanning the flames. How was I fanning the damn flames?
I don't know.
Butch Jones is a good coach. Support him. Stop talking bad about him.
Did we critique Butch Jones specifically at any point?
I didn't hear the only thing. I was expecting that last segment where we put up the numbers about the injuries and his record of getting, all coaches lose games they shouldn't. I expected to be hit with, "You're making excuses for Butch Jones, Homer." So, and
And
I
here's the
haven't
thing,
checked
we
my
just
email.
said-
I'm sure that's coming.
I think 6-6 is a possibility. And I also just said that I would keep him if it's 6-6. And you got to look at this season and how it went and everything. But I mean, there are situations and scenarios where 6-6 isn't his fault. I didn't think last year all the injuries are his fault. So just because you think that the season's might be worse doesn't mean fire Butch Jones. I think Tennessee needs stability. Maybe even if it's just mediocre stability, they need it.
Well, my view on Butch Jones, if he's 7-5, I'd probably keep him. Depending on how you got to 7-5, 6-6, that'd be tough. But the way I look at it is, he's a good coach. But even if you go 7-5 this year, we've done this. You look, anybody who looks at the numbers, who actually stops just looking at Tennessee lost here and Tennessee lost there, and you can't do that if you peel back and go, oh hell, they lost to them and they lost to them and that was stupid and he screwed that up. His numbers stack up with good coaches. He's a top 25 coach. So to me, if you know you've got a good coach, and it's not easy to find good coaches, you went through a couple who were not, in terms of Kiffin and Dooley, for different reasons. One's just not a good coach, and one couldn't handle a program. But if you know it's hard to find a good coach, then I would stick with the good coach and hope he turns into a great coach. So to me, I would keep him. But again, I don't know that we did not specifically
No.
discuss. People
No.
just, it's amazing.
No.
My father's he was a minister before he retired, and he told me a long time ago, there's what you say and there's what people hear. And it's true. You come into it with your own, if you love Butch Jones, then you're going to hear anything that's not, I think they ought to give him $1 million raise. If I don't say that, then you're trying to get him fired. No, I'm not. I don't see how we were negative
I
about
think all we
program.
said
Well, I
was
guess
that-
I was Mr. Negative because I said it.
No, he's talking to me. I'm the one fanning the flames. You were a flame,
I was
and
the
I was
flame
fanning
and you were fanning me.
I think I was the only one who mentioned anything about his future when I mentioned that the LSU game could end up being a referendum on Butch
Yeah.
Jones. But that's only because Butch Jones has kind of put himself in the situation of this year being a toss-up year, where if he goes 6-6, he's in trouble. If he goes 10-2, he's solidified for a couple
That
years.
and the fact that the LSU game could be a referendum
Yeah.
on Butch
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah.
You said it because it's true.
And then right off the bat, I'll say this. I don't
Crazy.
think a lot of Tennessee fans realize what a quality opponent you're opening them with on the road in their hometown. And I think that I think a lot of Tennessee fans have chopped that Georgia Tech game up as a victory.
Oh, a lot of Tennessee fans are
and you
Florida's
better watch
opening
out
game.
there. Yeah.
Georgia Tech's going to be tough. All right. Jimmy, I'll go to you since you're always negative, always fanning the flames. Let's talk about Evan Berry. Butch Jones said this week they may have him on offense a little bit, create a package for him. And, people got excited. What do you think of this? Not much. I don't think much of it because every year, every school, a coach always says, hey, we could create a package for so-and-so. Typically, that package turns into maybe 5 plays for the season. Now, maybe those are 5 touches that Evan Berry takes to the house. That's great. But I'm not wowed by the whole Evan Berry to offense thing. If anything, I look at it and say, does this tell me you lack playmakers and that's why you're doing it? That would be my concern. Your thoughts, I'll start with you and everybody else can pile in here. Evan Berry on offense.
Well, I do think Tennessee could use more playmakers, no doubt about it. But they did try Evan Berry on offense a couple of years ago, and it was during some bowl practices, and Evan Berry moved right back to defense. That tells me Evan Berry didn't really want to play offense. So if he doesn't want to play offense, which now could he have changed in the last couple of years? He could have, but I don't think he took to it, and I think he would prefer being on defense. I do not think Evan Berry will have an impact on offense this year.
I think Barry liked offense okay for the most part, but I think they tried him at running back and some things like that, and he doesn't look like a guy who fits in any one spot on offense. That's the problem. He's a great athlete without a position. So I think you can use him there in a part-time role, specialty role, and I think they probably will, but I think it's as much because Theo Jackson has emerged at safety as a guy who maybe can crack the 2 deep. suddenly he may be the number 5 safety, so you might as well try to get something out of him on offense.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not going to make your top 2 or 3 deep on defense, the area a need to me, if you look at it, would be if you can get Evan Berry on the field as a slot receiver. And if you can do some things there, if nothing else, just to see how the defense reacts to it. Maybe he can impact the game without having to have a touch. Maybe you find something he can do on a slant or something. I don't know.
I just wonder if it might be easier for a guy who's not. I just wonder if it wouldn't be better to just hand him the ball rather than turn him into a receiver. I know what you're getting at. They knew they need spots there. I would see him getting a pitch out of the backfield or something, or an
Jet
end
sweep.
around kind of thing,
exactly.
jet sweep. But again, I'm just not wowed by these things because it happens everywhere every year, and rarely. Charles Woodson, Gordy Lockbaum. Rarely do you have somebody that's coming out and playing on both sides, and it makes a big deal. Bob,
Right.
you buy into this?
No, I don't buy into it. I think he will have a package on offense. I think they'll run it against Indiana State, and then you never see it again.
Negative.
The way those things work.
Negative. Sorry. What about Tyler Bird? All right, now we're talking about receivers haven't stepped forward. There are a lot of people who'd like to see him move to the secondary. I don't think there's, and they've not talked about this. I don't think Tyler Bird moves to the secondary unless they have some real people step forward at wide receiver, and you haven't had it yet.
Right.
So, in terms of guys, I think Barry's more likely to play on offense than Tyler
Yes.
Bird is to move to defense. I also don't think you're ever going to see Juwan Jennings step back there on the defensive side of the ball ever.
Well, unless the other team's
Hail
trying to
Mary,
help
Hail
him.
Mary, yeah, okay.
But Tyler Bird, I tried to see if I can get more plays for him on offense. I mean,
Correct.
everything
Yep.
last year was, a short pass?
Yeah.
And
Or a
it
jet
didn't
sweep.
seem like they had much where they could get it down the field. That's where I would be trying to utilize him more.
All right. Well, go ahead. Were you going to say
I was
something?
just going to say he's probably one of your top 4 receivers at this point, so I don't see any way you can move him to defense. And when he came into UT, one of the reasons that they moved him was some people in the program thought he was more of a safety than a corner. So if you don't know for sure that he's a corner, really hard to move him to defense.
Well, and especially since you're one of your probably your strongest position in my view, safety. Like
Right.
You're set there. You've got a good rotation of guys there. You got 3 guys you can play in there. So I just don't see Bird popping up over there. All right, let me ask you this though. Dormity's going to be the starter against Georgia Tech. I think we all think that. Let's say, I think they'll both play against Georgia Tech. I think they'll both play against Indiana State, and then I think Dormity's your guy going to Florida on the road. We'll see. Could be wrong. If Dormity does win it, would you create a second package for Garantano? And part of this is a 2-part question. Would you create a second package for Garantano, a change of pace package, a la, as you mentioned during the show, 2006, Chris Leak and Tim Tebow? But the other part to this question, is there enough difference between Dormity and Garantano to make that big of a difference as Leak and Tebow were for Florida in 2006? In other words, do you see value in create a second package for your backup quarterback in terms of a change of pace? And would you do it? Is there value and would you do it?
John, I don't think there's a significant difference between Dormity and Garantano as there was Leak and Tebow. However, if Garantano does prove to be a better runner, then I might do that in the red zone situation. We're just talking about Tennessee was hitting, 73.5% in the red zone. One big reason, Dobbs, his running ability. So if Garantano proves that he is a better runner, I might look at that in the red zone. Otherwise, I don't know that I'd create a package for him.
Okay.
I'm with Jimmy. I don't think the difference between the 2 quarterbacks is as glaring as a lot of people might think. I think Quentin Dormity's more athletic than people realize. I think Garantano is not. He's not Josh Dobbs. He can't slip away from the pass rush the way he can. I don't think, from what little we've seen and going back to high school. But I do think he is someone who could help you in a specialty package, maybe from time to time. It just depends on whether he plays his way out of it in those first couple games. If he does play, I think if it shows it's close, I think you've got to keep him in the mix. But if it's not close, I think you go with Dormity and don't look back.
I think you're more intent, aren't you, getting Garantano ready to play, ready to, if he has to step in there and be the guy instead of, and I can see, would it be maybe throw the deep ball? Would he maybe do that better than Dormity? We know he can sure throw some fastballs because I've heard about how receivers were getting their hands hurt and maybe balls bouncing out and be deflected. But I don't know that you would do a certain package yet. Just see how things play out and have them both ready.
What Chuck said. I would leave him back there, let him learn the offense, and just work on being ready to play.
The other side is, as we talked about earlier, you've got to keep him there. And if it takes having a specialty package to use even occasionally, if that keeps him happy, to keep him there, I think you do that to keep Will McBride from being the backup because Suddenly you're down to 2 scholarship quarterbacks. That's a major concern.
Yeah, and I don't see, maybe looking at this wrong, I would think that Garantano's package would be part of the regular offense.
That's right.
Plays,
It would
yeah,
be.
so I don't
The
think it
zone
would
read.
be, yeah, I don't think it would be, we're going to teach you some other, I don't think doing a secondary package hurts him in his development as a quarterback. I would think they would just call more run plays, more of the read
Well,
with
I
him
look
than
at
they
the-
would
then-
with
Then just
Dormady.
letting him play is basically what it is then.
And
Well,
using
you
him in the
call
red
it-
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you would call it a little bit differently. Just, you'd probably have a little bit more of the zone read stuff with him than you would with Dormady in my mind, but.
Or you would
we'll
hope
see
he at
now.
least wouldn't ignore that if it was there, like we saw Worley do so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, guys, I appreciate it. Chuck, Ryan, thanks for joining us. Good to have you as part of the squad. Look forward to having you back here all football season long. Jimmy, thank you for being here. Bob, thank you.
Now, about
Appreciate
that hazing.
it. Yeah, now, and now Chuck's got the paddle. We've got- have you ever downed 3 bottles of rum in a row? That's next. But we're not, okay. No, we're not making any Chuck.
exactly.
We're not doing any Chuck jokes
that's
here.
right.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much for watching, and we thank our sponsors, especially Blue Smoke Cigar, for bringing you this segment. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. on WATE6. It's our all VFL show. We do it every year, and we'll have anywhere from 8 to 12 former Vols on one set, on one show, talking about the state of the program. Hope you'll join us.